Sounds like New York City.
Sounds like the L going through Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Hello. There we go.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Oh, there are three amigos are here today. Sort of, right?
Aye.
This is Kaskowitowski City Councilman, my good friends.
DJ.
From Cat TV and
Stemka.
Supposedly the voice of the people, right?
Voice of the people.
Where are you from?
I want to apologize. We couldn't be on the air last week. We tried to find a replacement host, but I was really under the weather, and I didn't think you'd appreciate me coughing all over you, so
no,
we didn't want to do that.
That's fine.
So thanks to Modern Pharmaceuticals and my doctor.
Okay. Awesome.
We're here today. So we have our first caller, actually. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Cass, this is... Oh, you're hard to get a hold of.
Well, yeah, I've been under the weather for a week. I wasn't answering too many phone calls.
Okay, hey, did you check that up there by Tom's here?
Well, it's fun.
They smashed a couple windows out of that bus shell there.
Actually, DJ and I did something prior to after my last show, and just before I got sick. DJ, you want to tell him?
Well, he's asking about a specific bus shelter with
that's
windows
one
smashed. Is that the same shelter?
Yep, that's the one.
Well, we weren't there with the windows smashed out, but we did see the road situation.
Oh, did you say they smashed out the windows at the bus stop?
Yeah, at the bus stop in the front gate, they smashed the windows out of it, and there was a puddle of water there. I was telling them about the road. They did that, some of that. But they did a fast job on it, but they should have done all of it instead of part of it. I mean, they did the bus shelter, but that was about it.
Wait a minute, this is the one over there by Liberty Plaza?
Yeah, by Tops, yes.
You mean they broke out the windows of it?
Yeah, the front windows. They smashed out. I tried to get a hold of the manager at the bus stop.
When did they do that?
I don't know.
Is it still there now, or?
I don't know. I ain't there now, though.
Oh, when did you see him broke out?
Well, I was here last Thursday.
You know what? I'll give him a call, but I'm sure by now somebody's told him.
All right.
We're already going to report the dip in the puddle, so we'll talk to them
DJ can. DJ, you want to tell him? Well, we took a ride up there. DJ and I did.
We saw how the road looked like they had attempted to patch it, but there's still dips where there's water.
Yes.
So we're going to turn that in.
Yeah, we're going to turn that in and see if there's anything. It's probably going to have to be a combination of the owner of the property, because it looks like that it's on his property.
Yeah.
Even though the bus stop is, there as a courtesy.
Right.
So I don't know if we can get the owner. The owner's, I'm going to tell you, it's probably not Tops. They usually rent the buildings.
Oh, yeah, they did. They said that they leased the property, they said.
Yeah, then I would not doubt that, but we'll see what we can do. We'll turn it into engineering and turn it into the EMTA.
Yep.
And pass your concerns along. But I didn't know about we must have missed the broken glass.
It must have happened after.
Well, they cleaned the glass up, but they should put thick puffs of glass in there instead of glass.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't. I do know this, though. It used to be it was a little bit more costlier, but when I worked for the parking authority, they had the same problem, so they start putting in reinforced glass.
Yeah.
But because they had a few problems with people thinking there was money left in parking booths.
Yeah.
Way back in the old days, back when we had these temporary ones.
Yeah.
But they'd get broken into all the time,
Yeah.
But yeah, you would think they would put plexiglass, but there could be a cost factor. I don't know,
Yeah.
But we'll kind of ask them when we call them.
All right. Hey, they had another fire at that warehouse on 16th and Franklin.
Yeah, we were just commenting about that.
Yeah, the firemen had to fight the fire from the outside because I guess when they went there 11 o'clock last night, the fire was already through the roof.
Yeah, you know, when a building's abandoned like that, and unless there's some compelling reason to go inside, I mean, you're just asking for trouble, you know.
Right.
Because it's abandoned as it is, but...
What building was this? Because I literally just got back in town.
This is the one that's kind of off of... it goes from French Street east on 16th Street.
Yeah.
It's about a block away from the Manicure Club, behind that area, you know.
It's not the asbestos factory,
Yeah,
is it?
It might be that...
That might be it.
I did call Kais and Stone, the fire chief, and he said they're going to have a meeting on it. They did take the owner to court on it for them to either tear the building down or close it up to keep people out of there.
Well, it's apparent there's a lot of homeless people possibly living in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, if you remember, years ago to, I believe that was the cause of the old, the building that's now renovated where the post office is.
Yeah.
What did you call that building? I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
The one where the post office moved in across from Junior's.
Yeah.
And I think that had like homeless people living in there that...
And that place was on fire a few years back.
Yeah, and when I toured that building, you could still see the results of it. So, I mean, it's an ongoing problem, and you know, it's going to happen. And the only thing you can do is you try to stay on top of it. But I think some people brought it to council's attention at the last meeting.
Yeah, because someone's either going to get hurt or they're going to get killed.
Well, I'm glad no fireman got hurt because, like the chief said, you know, when you got a collapsing building like that, that's not good.
They had to fight the fire from the outside instead of from the inside out.
Well, like I say, if there's no compelling... And, you know, it must have been so big because if I heard right on the news, they had to get Westlake to come in.
Yeah, they come in to help fight the fire.
Yeah,
it was pretty big. I live at Printer Tile Towers, and I can look out my balcony and I can see the smoke. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave you go.
Okay, thanks for calling.
Thanks.
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
You too. Don't eat too much turkey, Paul.
I'll try.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, I was looking into that building. The owners dropped the price from whatever it was to $50,000. There's a sign on the side that says, new lower price, $50,000. But really, who's going to want to buy an asbestos plant when it's going to cost who knows how many millions of dollars just to knock it down?
There was a plant off Parade Street once that was used for nickel plating, like
Yeah.
chrome plating bumpers and stuff, and that has a lot of...
Yeah.
There's a lot of those around town like that. Oop, it went off the air.
Okay, let's talk about county council.
Why?
They stuck it to the people again. They had over $30 million in surplus, and it only cost $3 or $4 million to make the budget straight. No, they had to stick it to the taxpayer again.
Well, Mike, go ahead, caller.
I have a couple observations for you.
Just a couple. Boy, you're off your game today.
Well, I got a couple and they go to a couple.
Okay.
But I sent an email when the mayor was on the talk radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I questioned, which they didn't read, you know, the boys that throw in softballs all the time.
Yeah.
I wanted to know why, with his balanced budget, he didn't send any tax increase for road repair. And, of course, you know the two firecrackers down there that think the mayor doesn't know how to walk on eggs because he can't break them, why they didn't ask him. And now, in this upcoming budgets, are you going to ask why we cannot have $250,000, $500,000 for taxes to repair the roads that the taxpayers are paying for?
Actually, John, I will bring that up, but I did bring it up already in one of our caucuses. I threw it out there as kind of like something that this is something we ought to consider, that you know, well, there's even some of us on council feel like tying in with that, wouldn't be a bad idea if every year, instead of raising taxes like, say, traditionally, every 3 or 4 years, it seems like.
Well, that's true. You know, a little bit at a time. You don't get stuck with a $25 million bond.
No, and you know what, I'm not sure, look, John, I'm not sure people would like the idea, like apparently you do, but I want to throw it out there and say, would you be offended if council, instead of floating bond issues every so many years, if we just, bit the bullet and said, each year, we either by millage or by total amount of dollars, whatever that dollars would equal in millage then, because it's hard, John, if you nail a millage figure, it's hard to say how much you're going to take in for the year.
Take some of the liquid fuel monies you're getting and put it into a road repair.
Well, that's okay, John, but then you got the other problem.
Bit of generalization.
If you do that, you're going to have to put that bill now back into the general budget for whatever we're paying for a lot of the electricity that way. Okay, so that's got to go back into the general budget then.
Well,
I mean, you can't. I mean, if you take it out of the liquid fuels, which is that's one concept, then you got to put it back somewhere. So you're going to have to put it. Some's got to go back in the general budget.
Well, yeah, tighten up down there. He's saying you're tightening up.
Well, we're lean on employees. And sometimes I think too lean in certain areas, but I don't disagree with you on the road thing. In fact, I said that maybe that's what we ought to do every year. Just say, kind of have a long-range plan and figure every year we'll put so much into the road system.
Take some of the money you're getting from the water. That $1 million, whatever.
Oh, are you talking about that water reserve fund?
No, what the water department's giving you.
Well, that goes into the water reserve.
Well, take some of that out and put it into a capital improvement for the roads.
Well, long range, John, here's our plan, just so you know where it's coming from. The water reserve fund was in bad shape when, over the last few years.
Yeah, and you sold it down the line for 25 years and stuck it to the taxpayer again.
Right, that's not this council, John, and I'm not going to bat for
this council, but I'm saying
it was a bad idea. This council realized, and so did one of the later councils, one of the earlier councils realized that no more going into the water reserve account to balance the budget, no more going into the water reserve account to do some exotic projects.
And into the water reserve account to balance the budget.
We did.
That was Tulio.
Well, we did it even after that.
The department.
We did many things even after Lou, which I don't think were a good idea, but council had the authority to do it. But now, what the plan is to build up the water reserve fund, and each year we give so much money to the administration for capital projects.
Yeah, but their capital and projects have to be at least 25 years.
Well, to be fair to them, they're buying equipment and other things with it.
Equipment is not capital improvement.
They're doing I just said they're doing other things too.
That's right.
And they're doing, some of the money is going into roads. That fund is not real big yet. So every year that we grow it, and right now it is growing a little bit each year, we've changed the way we invest in that account. We don't tap into it. There's a set amount of money we pull out every year, a percentage, and we don't take any more out until that fund grows. When that fund gets a little bigger, we may give the city a little more percentage. Yeah, long range, John, I think the goal of council is to say, okay, we want this fund to be so big that, yeah, we can give you this amount of money, and hopefully that, with maybe a little bump from the general tax, maybe that'll take care of the roads then.
True,
But you know what, John? We can't change the past in one day or one year.
But the water authority waved a ham in front of you, the city council at the time, and then give them a wiener.
That's right. You know what? That's why I'm hoping that I'm hoping it doesn't happen again. And as long as I'm on there, I'm going to try to be a voice that says, let's not. Like some people bring in, let's dip into our reserve accounts.
True.
Once in a while you do, okay, but you got to have a plan. When the water reserve had $20 million almost, we were dipping in there like drunken sailors on an evening in Norfolk.
That was when it was the water authority.
And we shouldn't do that, but the water reserve has always been under council. Now council in their wisdom now, is saying no more money's going out the door, unless it's for the benefit of the city. It's not going to be for, and I don't want to pick on projects, but there were some projects in the past that the late Councilman Bagnoni had trouble with.
True.
And there was money that, balanced in the budget because we didn't want to face the bullet. All of a sudden, that water reserve account was down precariously low, just barely double digits.
Observation number 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
You tell me what the hell the sweeper was out doing Fargo Street this morning in the snow.
That I'll have to ask about.
776 was the sweeper number.
Okay, what was that number?
776.
Okay, here's what I was told now about one of your other questions you gave me about a week or two ago. I think it was you. Was you asking me about why they run them dry?
Yeah, why are they running it dry?
They're not supposed to.
Well,
now the question was when I questioned one of the
water down to help suck it all up. And then unload.
Here's what I was told. If you see one of those trucks going around without water, and I think you were with me when I told you that. DJ was with me, and I asked the guy pointedly, and he said, if you see a truck going around without water, tell me, because that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Right, here's one for you with the snow, 776.
I'll bring that up.
And then again, coming over 38th Street by the BA, the road's all dirt to hell, from State Street all the way up to Old French.
What, dirty?
They're doing the construction there. And there he was coming over this morning on the north side of the street when it started snowing. He saw me looking at him, and then he sped up. And he turned down, come back down the garage. Maybe he was going to put on his plow or something.
No, I don't know why they'd be out.
It was vehicle number 776, and it was about 9 o'clock this morning. And now, another observation. On the 1000 block or 900 block on 38th Street on the north sides of the street, the landlord, whoever, took all the time in the world to rake his leaves up and put them in bags. They're still sitting there. And I recall here a little bit ago, they bought a machine that was supposed to pulverize and puncture these plastic bags so it would decompose. Yet I went along 38th Street all the way over to Green Garden, down Green Garden north to 26th Street, and the city, lo and behold, had cleaned all the leaves up. Now, if they can do that, why can't they pick this guy that has all his leaves in bags?
Where's these bags now, John?
38th Street, north side of the street. I believe it's between the 900 and 1100 block.
On the east side, right?
On the east side, on the north side of the street. And yet they can go out and do Frontier, they can do Green Garden and pick those. Don't they know how to multitask? And the garbage bin went through twice. Those leaves have been out there for like 2 solid weeks.
Okay.
I mean, he may not have the right bags, but at least they picked them up, and I see him picking other stuff up on the west side, building material, couches, and things like that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. But I've taken enough time. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Hey.
I'm going to have tripe.
By the way, I do like your first suggestion, though. I really do.
Well, yeah, we have to start looking at stuff. I'm glad the firefighters came to an agreement, but, it seems kind of strange.
Yeah.
I was representing my union, and I'm only getting 3%, which is a good amount these days. Mm-hmm. But I don't understand how they are giving 4 days of comp time, of sick time back. Can you explain that to me?
No, I haven't seen the contract yet, but I'll look into it for you.
That makes sense? Why would I want to give something that, like 4 days back? Now, I don't know if these are documented or undocumented days. For just 3%.
Yeah, I haven't seen what the whole contract was yet, though.
But that's what the mayor said, and the paper said. Of course, what the paper says is it's worthless because that's just a tabloid.
Well, they're giving you the highlights, but you don't know what,
Yeah, there has to be more to that picture than what.
A lot of times there's a lot of little stuff that matter too,
Yeah. Is the budget going to be online?
Yeah, it should be. I don't know why they wouldn't.
I mean, the complete budget, line for line.
I will check, but I can't imagine why it wouldn't be, John.
I'd like to see it so I could copy it and peruse it a little bit. But I hope you don't let all these supervisors come in and give them a rah and all that. I hope you scrutinize this a lot better than you have for the last previous years, and too much garbage, and listen to the get down to the nitty gritty. Of course, the mayor will expect you to come on through there. If you're not happy with it, when the new council comes in, can you recall that budget?
I think you can, yes. I think there is a period you can.
Well, I'll be watching.
I think they call it reopening it, but...
Opening it up, yes. So, okay. Have a great Thanksgiving, guys.
You too.
You too.
Okay, back to county council.
Yeah, you got it.
I went down there Monday a week ago, got there about 10 minutes early, and the meeting was over.
Hang tight.
I said...
Hold your thought, okay? Go ahead, caller.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey.
Last week, sweeper number 1169 came down East Avenue, no water, and he never hit the storm basins, which across the street from my house, they're full of leaves. You know how you can make a little turn around the corner when you're coming down? Never attempted to clean the basins out with the sweeper.
That would only get the surface. Do you think they need cleaned inside, though?
Well, there's weeds and everything coming out of the one I've seen.
So, excuse me, I'm coughing a little bit. Where is that?
34th and East Avenue.
Where is the grate? Is that where it is? 34th and East Avenue?
It's on the southeast corner.
Which corner?
Southeast.
Southeast?
Yes.
Okay. What it may need, besides the street sweeping, which will only get the surface, maybe they need to go inside there and look at it.
Well, even you could suck up some of the leaves because it's clogging the whole drain.
That's a storm sewer, right? Correct?
They tore a house down next to the building that Burham Pharmacy is in.
Yeah, I saw that.
Nothing going in there?
I know the owner, and I don't think they have any plans right now except for probably extra parking.
Parking for what?
Well, the pharmacy is busy, but he has the ice cream business there.
I never see anybody in either one of them.
I'm thinking right now that's his only plan, but I can ask him, if he has any long-range plans. But I do know that when I go to pick up my pharmacies there, on certain days it's kind of crowded, and there's a problem. I think he needed the driveway too.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a problem with traffic. You got people coming in, going out. It's a real mess. So.
Okay, that's all I have.
Yeah, but I'll kind of ask him. But I don't think long range is anything. He may need, somebody backed into his door one day. If you saw that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so he does get a little crowded there with pickups once in a while, but I think it's that and the flow of traffic. But I'll pass on your concerns to him, okay?
One other thing, when are these rubber stamp meetings going to start?
Which one?
Rubber stamp council meeting.
Oh, we haven't decided yet. We'll announce them. It'll be after Thanksgiving.
No, I watched just about every one of them for the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Some of these council people, they just pretend that they're looking through the budget. They just don't ask no questions whatsoever. It's ridiculous. You have to watch them on TV.
When I sit through them, sometimes I wonder. I'll have a few questions this year, but a lot of times there's not much you can cut. That's kind of, it's already been there's little things. It's the big things that you're kind of looking for, and that's going to be the real thing is where do we spend money, and are we bringing in the revenue we're supposed to from certain programs? I'm going to be asking questions in that area because they're going to have to justify to me why they want employees hired if they're not going out there and doing their job. But some things there's not a lot of wiggle room, but. If what you could do is if you have any questions, feel free to call me or any councilman, and I'll make sure I ask the question when I'm there.
Okay.
So if you like, my number's in the book, or you can just call the secretary down here, and tell the appropriate liaison to ask the question.
Okay, that's all I have today.
Yeah, but I'll be willing to answer any ask any question you want to ask.
Yeah. Have a happy holiday.
Okay, and you said that I want to double check on that address. That was up on 34th and East Avenue, southeast corner, right? Correct?
Yes.
And the sweeper was going down what street when he didn't have water?
He was coming down East Avenue.
Oh, okay. From like Marion's Barbershop down, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay, no problem. We seem to have a problem in that area of town.
Yep. Okay.
Hey, thank you very much.
Have a happy holiday.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, let's get back to this council, third time.
Okay, you want to know why
Okay.
they didn't dip into their surplus?
Wait, I was there a few minutes to 7. So I went in, I knocked on the door, and the sheriff comes out. This woman comes out. She said, the meeting's all over with. I said, all over with?
How long was it?
It started at 5.
And what
I
time
didn't
were you
hear-
there?
I was real before 7.
Ooh, okay, you were late.
But I was a little bit late. But they started at 5, and they had an early meeting. I said, how come no one else? I didn't hear nothing about the hour change.
Well, they have to advertise. They cannot not advertise.
Well, I didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
So I talked to the woman on county council. What's her name?
Carol Lowe?
Yeah, I talked to her, and she said, well, we almost got a budget balanced, and she didn't seem too happy about it. And then what's his name? Head of city county council. Flo, he was all upset. He was tied because we had, there's $30 million in the budget, and they couldn't take $2 to $3 million to balance the budget. Mm-hmm. They didn't do that, so they stuck it to the people again. I mean, people better wake up. These county councils think they got all kinds of money. Erie's a distraught city.
I can't speak for them. I don't know what they're up to, but I can tell you that...
It's no good. It's no good.
It seems to be that, judging by their articles in the paper, it almost seems like they are trying to expand the things they're involved into.
Yeah, but the hotel...
But I mean, when they talk about, the EMTA and all that,
Now what's going on with that?
Don't know yet. I mean, we met with them one time. We just, wanted to see where they were coming from and tell them where we're coming from. We're going to meet again, but they obviously have their own agenda.
They want to take over it and put a committee in there.
Well, they want to. They can't disband the city one because we started it. Okay.
Right.
They can start their own. I don't know how that's going to go over with Harrisburg or Washington. Okay.
Well, they want to have authority for their friends, so they can appoint one for
whatever they do, though.
That's the agenda.
But you got to remember now, we get funds from Washington and Harrisburg.
Right, but they want to take it over and have an authority.
And, they got to deal with
the water department.
They got to deal with them too. And how are they going to feel about? When you look at Erie County,
they have a clue what they're thinking
we
about.
haven't grown in 20, 30 years. Okay, we still have roughly 280,000 people. In fact, the last thing I think said that the county actually lost money. Lost people a little bit. So it's not like we're so huge that we can have, multiple, transit companies. Okay, this isn't Chicago, and this isn't, New York, okay? And this isn't even Rochester, right? So I don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like, if they didn't want to dip in that reserve account, then they have some reasons, which I don't know. But I would not, I would still tell you this, Ron. Anytime you dip into reserves, okay, that can't go on forever, okay?
Yeah, but you had $30 million.
I know. Now, here's what I don't understand,
$8
Ron.
million out?
We are told as a municipality that on some of our things, like sewer account, we must keep so much money in reserve by law.
How much is that?
Don't have the exact figure, but
I don't figure, just throw ball out there.
it's a percentage, okay? So in other words, it's saying whatever you have tied up, the bonding companies, because over the years when we did all the sewer, the pipes and all that system, okay, you have to have so much money in reserve so that if the unthinkable happens, you have a catastrophic, just like the water authority. They have to plan that one of the pumps goes down, something like that. Okay, so there are surpluses you have to keep. Prudently, they tell you should keep like about a month or two of whatever your budget is. You should be able to get through a couple months of the year if a catastrophe happens, like the state's doesn't have a budget. That's one thing. When I was on the school board, we used to borrow money until they changed the way they taxed the people. Now they're taxing them based on the school year and not the calendar year, which is working out better because now the money's there when school starts. Nobody liked it, but that's, it makes more sense from an accounting standpoint. So this way you don't have to borrow these Tran notes and pay back interest, and that's basically a loan which goes nowhere. It just gives you money and then you wind up paying fees back. So I'm not saying they're doing wrong. They probably if they got more than 2 months or whatever they have planned, then you could probably hold your thought, and we'll come back to that. Go ahead.
Fourth time.
People speak. Go ahead, caller.
Hear anything about all the Barbados restaurants closing in the city?
Is that the one on? If that's the old one on State Street,
That's been closed.
Is that the one you're talking about?
I heard all of them. Yes.
Well, there's a Barbados. There used to be Barbados is the one was on State Street next to D Cigar Store. That I understand closed up recently, and I think the other one was out on East 38 somewhere.
There's one on 18.
Where?
18th Street.
No, that's one on State Street.
There's one on East 30. There used to be one on East 38th.
Buffalo Road, there's one there at the end.
But he's saying Erie. Is it in Erie City you're talking
There's one
about?
over there on West 38th Street. At Bayou Home Center there.
We'll have to find out. What's your question, sir? You want me to find out for you?
Well, I don't know. I just wonder if you guys heard.
No, we don't hear of every business closure, but Barbados over the years, I think, they were divided in different things, and we used to have one in East 38th. I don't even know if we have one there anymore. And then you said there's one on West 38th.
Yeah, right there with the Bayou Home Center by Green Garden.
You know what? I can do a little research and get back to your next meeting. Would that be okay? Next show.
Well, there's like 4 in the city limits.
Yeah.
Okay, you say the one on State's closed.
Yeah, that used to be Barbados, and then D Cigar Store bought it. They had a woman, I think they said the woman that owned Chuck and Ginny's was running it, and then I heard recently that closed.
And there's one up on...
One on like West 6 by Strong Vincent out there, too.
Yeah.
Is there?
And there's one up on by the casino up there.
That's outside the city, but he's saying there's 4 in the city.
From what I heard, they're closing all of them, including the one in Wesleyville. Mm-hmm. And the only one that's going to be left open is the one up on Old French Road by the casino.
I wonder, did they give a reason, though?
I'm not sure if anybody, has any information on that, or that's just what I heard. I'm not...
I'll do a little research, because that bothers me, because I hate to see businesses leaving the city.
He got sick, the one that runs at Barbados.
Pardon?
There's only one Barbados left.
Is there? Yeah, because they used to be a great chain. I ate there all the time. It saddened me when the one on State Street closed. I used to hang out there when I was in college. But, I don't like to see anything closing in town.
Not
thinking Valerio, either Valerio's just ran them out, or just like the chains, the Little Caesars, and...
You know what disappoints me? I wrote a letter to one of the big chains, and I told them of my displeasure. Now, I'm probably a little voice in the wilderness, but these corporate people come in and they give you a sanitized pizza. You can't get all the fillings and toppings you want. That's why I still like the little mom and pop places.
Oh yeah, Kaz.
I still go to like Steve-O's or Empire on East Avenue, the Barbados when they were,
Nunzies.
Nunzies. I still go to, I still like the little mom and pop places, the local people.
Yeah, the Kaz, the heart of any good city is the small businesses.
Yeah, it
You've
is.
got great small businesses that stay here and thrive. I mean, that's great for any city, but you just get these Walmarts and these chains running in here, they don't care.
No, I mean, you complain to them and they say, thank you for your concern, and that's it, Now, if you go up to a local and you say, you know what, I don't think you're not taking care of me the right way, they'll talk to you at least. Or they tailor their menus to local taste.
And the money doesn't stay here, Kaz. That's the thing with these chains.
No, it doesn't. And everybody gets all excited about, what's up there on Upper Peach Street. But I always like to point out that it was a sad day, like when Puffer Belly closed. And I said, these are all local restaurants, like Bertrand's, Cloud9, or any of those places. Or you go around here on the North Park Road where you had Cow Tie and you had the Sidewalk Cafe and the Catfish Kitchen and all them, all local people,
I just looked up their locations on their website, and they only list one, and that's the one up on Perry Highway.
Yep.
They're not even listing any of the other sites.
Yep.
I'm curious of what the reason was, but
I can't find anything. There's nothing reported about them just closing.
I will try to find out because that distresses me, but that's another name that from the past that we kind of miss.
Yep, I think they're done, Kaz. Especially if you're looking on their website, you're only listed one, they're done.
Yeah.
Like even when you look at you look at the chains taking them over. It is bad for local people and local business.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a name out of the past that
That great reviews. Everybody says good things about their food.
Well, they had that huge pizza. What did they call it? It had a.
I don't think I've ever eaten it.
Oh, it was when my kids were home. I had 3 kids home.
Yeah.
It went quick.
My buddy used to work out there, him and his uncle, Mandy.
Well, I like the old Mr. Barbado when he had State Street. He had that crust that was burned on the edge. Nobody else did that. It was like crispy. My wife loved it, but.
That big pizza was called the Barbarian.
Yeah, I knew it was something like one. It was like and I was gonna say the Viking or something like that, but. Yeah, that was a huge piece of pizza.
The Barbarian, yeah, it was like $18 and feed 6 people.
Yeah. The nice thing about the one downtown was when I was in college, we used to take our dates there, and you could have a beverage in the back room, and it was just nice and cozy, and people came in and took their pizzas out the front, and everything was it was a different time back then, I guess.
Yeah.
But I can't get warm and cozy at Pizza Hut like that,
Yeah. So sorry I couldn't find more.
You've seen the freighters on the Great Lakes.
Pardon?
He won maybe one every 2 weeks now. I don't even remember when I was a kid. Used to see them all the time.
What, the freighters?
Yep, those big old freighters. See the 750-footer, 1,000-footers out there.
One came in about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but it's not like he said, in the old days.
Yeah.
Sailors would come in and you'd see them around town. And
how about those one freighters were sitting 4 or 5 of them down at the bay?
And you'd watch those guys. They'd be trying all the watering holes down there in various places. But it was good for business, though.
What would it take to bring those freighters back? I mean, would that government have to be involved and say, "Hey, we got to get some of these trucks off the road," or what would it take?
Well, you know what? It was funny when you mentioned that. When I worked in the private sector, it must have been cheaper for them. I would ask the drivers, where did this steel pipe come in? Like we would get truckloads of steel pipe or cast iron pipe, plastic pipe, and they'd flatbed it, and he goes, "We're coming in from Wilmington." And I'm thinking Wilmington, Delaware. No, Wilmington, North Carolina. And they actually, that's where the ships are coming in now, ports like that, and they're trucking them across the country. That when you and I were probably young, and I don't know what your age is, but I remember when they did the St. Lawrence Seaway, and that was supposed to be the gateway to the Great Lakes and all that. And then after that, the ships stopped using it, it seems like. They found it was cheaper to, hit the Atlantic ports and have the interstate take them across.
Now, where did they get that white sand they used to have on the peninsula? Remember when we were kids? They had seashells and everything.
I think they might have got it from, they might have dredged it.
And like I said,
You know, sir?
Well, see, but that's what's beating up all our roads and bridges are all these, 18-wheelers.
Yeah. Ronnie asked, do you remember where the white sand was they used to get? Was that the one they dredged up?
yeah, in Canada side. The Canada
How
side.
about that?
Yeah, but you're right about I don't know what'll bring shipping back. One thing you'll need is industry. And when I was up in Duluth one day visiting, and they were lamenting up there how they don't have the business they used to with the ore and the taconite and all that. But when I was a kid, you'd see them bringing the ore boats down. They'd hit the foundry towns, and the railroads would take them to Pittsburgh and Youngstown. And that's all gone now, it seems like.
That's too bad.
I don't know what could bring it. I don't know if you can force the companies to use the St. Lawrence Seaway.
Got to give them some kind of incentive to do it.
Yeah, that's.
Get these trucks off the highway. Our highways beat up.
Or if you're my age, you can remember when Eisenhower put a lot of money into what they called the St. Lawrence Project, and that was all about building the lock system and getting the boats to use it, and then they also built the interstate at the same time, and that kind of like killed it.
Yep.
So I mean, on one hand we were expanding the road network, but at the same time we killed the railroads and the freighters.
Now, Kansas, from what I see, the railroads are doing fine.
Some of them, but I think they could be doing better, though. I mean, at least the passenger side, that would be nice.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean, it'd be nice to be able to take a train to Chicago and not have to, trundle along and leaving late at night.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, airports I'm not going against the airports, but, a lot of times the trains could do what the short hops can't do now,
When they get that monorail in.
Got a question for DJ before I go, too.
Oh, there you go.
Question.
He likes to feel wanted.
I want to feel wanted. What do you got?
There's another thing from the past, DJ. Remember that vehicle that had all the stuffed animals glued to it?
Oh, that car.
I know the person
Part
who...
Cat TV, wasn't it?
No, that was one of the members of Cat TV who does not represent Cat TV, but I know who you speak of.
Whatever happened to that car?
I always seen that part Cat TV.
That's because he used to use our studios quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think he sold it. It was actually his wife's car, and they just glued a bunch of toys to it.
How was that thing past Pennsylvania State inspection? That's what I always got to me.
I do not know. Can't really say.
I used to get nailed for having a college sticker on my back window. No, he would. And then this guy's riding around with these dolls.
You're right, though. I have no idea how that thing passed inspection at all. But yeah, he was there for the longest time, but he kind of disappeared. He hasn't been around in a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
That car should have gone in the museum, right?
It should have. People thought it was my car. I'm like, no, I'm crazy, but I don't put all that crap on my car.
I remember that car. That was classic.
Yeah. It used to be parked up at Romelo's, too, because I guess his wife worked in that area somewhere on Upper Peach Street. So you'd be able to drive around up there and see it, but I think they got rid of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
DJ, don't forget about replaying the clown show. I'm still looking for that.
Scott.
Yeah, I need a piece of paper.
Clown
Here,
show?
let me borrow your pen. I'll use my paper.
I'll give you some paper.
I got this.
Yeah, write it down. We gotta remind Erie about what. I think people would love it.
That was priceless entertainment. First time I met DJ, I asked him about that.
That's how I found Cat TV, because I was flipping through the channels and there's two dudes dressed up as clowns. I was like, well, this is interesting. And it was. They used to pick on Mario all the time. They used to really pick on the politics. And the last time I played it, somebody called up and complained because they didn't like the fact that we were disrespecting local politicians. But that was like 10 years ago, and none of those politicians are here, and it was all done in fun.
Oh, you got to have a sense of humor. If somebody wants to parody me on that channel, that'd be okay. I don't care.
I played it back for a week, and I took it off the air because that's the fastest response I ever got to putting a show on the air, and I got a complaint.
You got to have thin skin if you're up here. You can't be worried about that.
Yeah.
That'd be funny, though.
I will, though. I wrote it down. I'm going to go try to find my archives and bring it back.
Okay. I'll talk to you guys later.
And I'll do a little research on Barbados for you, because I'm curious, too.
Yeah, now I'd like to know.
Yeah, I think they're done, though, Kev. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
See, that's the little things that you hate to see go.
Oh.
Go ahead, caller.
Barbados, they were in the business for 60 years and he had enough.
Oh, really? Was that it, John?
Anyone left?
The one in Wesleyville, in the 60 years. And
Well, maybe you remember a little bit, because you worked for DeMichael's in the past, I think, right?
yes,
That name came up the other day when I was doing the Italian show on the radio.
yeah.
We were talking about, I said, I know a guy that worked there. But now, Nicky Barbado was the old guy, right?
Well, there was Nicky and Joe.
Now, Nicky owned the one on State Street, I think. And I used to know him. He was a real nice guy.
Joe was with him there too.
Did they split at one time, or?
Not really. They did like DeMichael did. We had 5 shops all over the city.
Were they all connected to Barbados?
Yeah, they were all connected.
Okay, so now what happened that they kept the one up? Did they sell that one off, John, maybe? The one up by the casino?
Well, I think that's doing a nice business up there with the hotels and all that. The new hotels going in there.
Yeah.
So they do a great business.
Do you think, like that guy said, the influx of all these chains and different restaurants are just pushed them out, maybe?
No, I don't think so. Once you find a good pizza, you just keep going to them.
Well, I like I said, I was in Chicago. I had a real good one there.
You had a deep dish pizza.
Yeah, but you know what, John, I'm like Jimmy LaCortrick used to say, the worst pizza near you is still pretty good.
Well,
When you get a New York style, if it's done right, I like that too.
I used to like DeSille's.
Yeah, I remember that was legendary.
Where was that at?
First and Parade.
Yeah, where was it?
Like Palmisano's.
It was where, John?
Palmisano's.
Yeah, where was that? I remember Palmisano's. Where was the other one?
21st and...
Which one?
Oh, DeSille's was 21st, right?
Parade. On let's see, it was on the southeast corner.
That's like Luigi's. They had their own style.
Oh yeah, and then you got Lucetta's, and Vito has a good style. DeMichael's had one. I'll tell you what, this Papa John's up here on 38th Street,
Yep.
he's a super guy.
You know what got me mad the other day, and I wrote a letter, and I'll probably get yelled at because people say, you're in the minority. But all I wanted was a stinking pizza, John, right?
Yeah.
With anchovies on it.
Just tell them.
Can't find them.
You know what? So I go to Pizza Hut, and I said, I want a cheese and pepperoni pizza, right?
Yeah.
And my wife would like mushrooms on her half.
1/2 time with anchovies.
Yeah, and I said, would you put the anchovies off to the side because they bleed, John?
Right.
So I said, put them. They always did that. They put them in a nice cup.
Yeah.
She goes, we don't carry them no more. I said, wait a minute, you don't carry them? What are you talking about? So she goes, no. I said, was that a local decision? No, she said it was corporate.
That's hard to believe.
So, no, I did a little research. So I went on the corporate site, and sure enough, she's right. It's not listed. You put a zip code in, so I put a couple of fake zip codes.
Mm-hmm.
No anchovies, right? Wow. So then I said, I wrote a letter, and I got a nice response like, hey, thank you for your concern. That was it. So that's like no response, right?
Yeah.
So I looked up Domino's and Hungry Howie's and all of them.
Yeah.
And I said, none of the chains have anchovies.
Wow.
So then I looked up Empire Pizza over there on East Avenue, Steve O's,
Yeah.
a couple other local ones, and I said, yeah, they got anchovies, right? So I looked up Blue Monotti's in Chicago and a couple in New York, and I said, they got them, right? So what is it with the corporate, entities that decided, they can't keep one can of anchovies?
I don't know. You get them in oil, they'll last a lifetime.
Well, yeah, put one can in the back room, for nutcases like me,
They'll last longer than Twinkies.
That's why that guy is right. When places like Barbados go out of business, you start getting into what the corporate people say you have to like. You know, we're going to make you a pineapple pizza.
Yeah, all
You
the
know.
garbage. There's a good pizza shop right down the street from you.
Who?
Patty's Pizza.
Daddy's, yeah.
Yeah, I've gone there.
They'll put anchovies on for you.
Yeah, all the local people, I think, will, because you know what? They realize that there are nutty people like me that live in Erie.
How about bacala balls? You ever had bacala?
Yeah,
The balls instead of pepperoni.
John makes
you put
fish
bacala.
balls.
Huh?
Right, John?
Yeah, I make fish balls, pepperoni balls. I make pizza and mozzarella balls.
My mother's making bacala for Christmas, so you guys can...
Bacala. and
I
then-
might save you a piece, but I don't count on it.
But
You know what
I think
bacala
Papa
is?
John's will even put on anchovies for you.
I don't think they will.
Crates.
You don't think so?
No, I think I checked them out, too.
Hard to believe.
I checked out Little Caesars. I'll check out Papa John's.
Pepperoni.
No, there's a new sandwich shop down next to the Red Fox
Oh, there is? Oh, you know what that is? I heard a rumor.
called Delish.
I heard that is the guy that worked for, he was the cheese cutter down at Erie County Farms.
Oh, yeah?
You remember the big guy?
Yeah.
He was one of the nicest guys I ever met. And somebody said, they told me they heard that he was starting a place called Delish, and that must be it, right?
On
That's,
38.
my son got a couple sandwiches and
How are they, good?
and they're choice lunch cuts.
They're good?
Yeah, they're very good.
Is there a big guy working there?
Yeah, they're a little pricey, but you pay for what you get.
I don't care about pricey. You know what? If it's good,
It's worth the price.
yeah. I think they said years ago he had the Delish fish, but I'm not sure.
I don't know, but
But
I see there that the EMT or the E now, they have a route already established for Corey. Remember I told you to check on the out-of-town routes they have?
yeah, what they did though in Corey was they decided that based on the need there, they positioned a bus there full time.
Full-time except for holidays.
Right. He doesn't run into Erie that much, I don't think.
I don't know, he got one running to Edinburgh.
Well, I mean, I think the Corey bus stays around Corey.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if it comes into the city. I'll have to check, but it's mainly designed to like shuttle people around the Corey area.
True.
And apparently their chamber decided to... You know what I found out, John, was that there are, besides the city of Erie, the city of Corey, the city of Northeast, the borough of Northeast, because Corey's the only other city.
Yeah.
But like Northeast, because of the campus, they do give money to the EMTA to help subsidize some runs.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, and so I think Edinburgh does too because of the college, and so it's not like they're doing it all entirely,
Well, I didn't think they would.
That's why I'm saying if there's no reason why, if some community wants it, along with the help that each community gives, and the city gives quite a bit of money. Everybody, every community, if they want the bus, can help out by giving a little bit of their tax money into there, to help it.
That's true. The whole thing, though, the way this bus, the way they run, they don't run holidays and everything else. And,
Yeah.
You get down to Pittsburgh in those areas, you can get a bus deal. You can ride all over the city, and you only pay X amount of money.
I think, this new Mike Tan, I'll give him a chance. I have just met him, and maybe he's got to, people got to talk to him, give him some ideas, and maybe he's open to some new and inventive things. Like, when you go out of town, you always see these things, like, here's what they do out of town. They run certain days, and why can't we,
True.
You can always run on a limited schedule,
It's true. A lot of people can't get around.
No, I mean...
And there's no bus service in such an area during holidays or whatever. It's like throwing people to the fish.
Well, at least if you have like a couple runs at least running, maybe, and you have to get there, but hey, you know what? At least it's something.
That's true. So,
But thanks for calling us back, John.
okay, I'll make you some anchovy balls one of these days. I always have anchovies in my house.
I do too. My wife learned my mother taught her how to, make them.
Well, I'll give her an easy recipe how to do that. Get frozen dough, cut it into 1.5 inch pieces, let it thaw, stuff the anchovies in. You can bake them or deep fry them.
There you go. I love them, and I'll tell you what, I gotta try your bacala because my mother's making me some for Christmas again.
Is she putting black olives in with it?
No, I have to ask her about that one.
Black olives and capers?
I'll try yours sometime. I'll try one piece of yours if you save it.
Killing me.
Have a great day.
Save me one piece, John.
Okay.
I think There's only one Barbado left.
Pardon?
There's one Barbado left, all the brothers. I grew up with the family, and there's only one left.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think he just...
I never heard the story, but I remember, I heard like they, not a split, but one, they did this, one went over there and...
There's only one left that has 12th and French. That store there, they sell couches and mattresses and stuff. Freddy's. That's
Barbado?
That's Barbado too.
All right, you want to finish up? Did you want to finish up your thought? I killed the phone lines because I got stuff I got to talk about.
Okay,
I wanna
now,
make sure you got your answer.
like I said, I went to city council and it was all over with.
Yeah.
Like I said, they hired 4, but that's 3 prison guards they had to hire and a secretary. Now, to come with all them jobs she had, the county saved over $950,000, I think was the figure. It would have cost the taxpayer for them jobs. Mm-hmm. And right now, we got 5 minutes yet. Like I said, county council with that kind of money in the fund, $3-4 million miss nothing. You got $30 million, and these guys don't give a shit about the people.
Well, we don't know is what their long range plans are.
Yeah, but all them guys want to do is spend.
I mean, I can't understand why they didn't. I don't know what their needs are. It seems like they're above what their what normal reserve should be. Of course, we can't tell them that. That's their budget.
Yeah, but you got to look at the people in Erie. Erie's a distraught city. I've been telling you guys.
Well, I think they owe an explanation because most people would ask the question: you got the reserve, okay? From right. What people feel like if you have a reserve, you're overtaxed.
Right.
It's not always the case, okay? There's nothing wrong with having a reserve. Okay?
But that much?
Well, if it grows, then you got questions to ask, okay? Unless you got a reason for growing it, okay? If there's a reason, if you're saying, we're doing this because of, okay?
They didn't give no reason or nothing.
That's the problem. I mean, you got to be transparent with the public. People can understand, okay, this is why we're not tapping in reserve. Okay, we need this money this is a long-range plan, okay? But if you don't explain that, then people start thinking, okay, you got it by overtaxing us, so you should really give it back to us.
They don't care. They don't care.
Well, that's what happens when you're not responsive. I hope I never get to the point where I can't be honest with people, okay? I can't speak for everybody, all of my colleagues, but you always should at least tell people, where you're coming from, okay? Well, Mario used to do it, and other people did it, mm-hmm. Jimmy did it. Tell the public what the truth is. If you're doing it because of this, fine. If you really don't know why they're doing it, say that too. But to me, here's what I don't care. I don't care, and I said this before. I don't care if I say the wrong things and I don't get elected because I'm telling the truth. I don't care. I'm not gonna worry about my political career at this stage of my life, and lie to people. So, I would tell them the truth. Why didn't you spend a reserve? What's the reason? Is there something long range that you got in mind? Okay, is it the radio system? Is it EMTA? Is it whatever it is? Okay, but go ahead.
I need 2 minutes of your time because that's
about
what we got.
Go ahead.
I just got back from New York City.
Oh yeah.
So obviously, I want to talk about certain things that they do that make a successful system. Number one, the sheer size of the city. It's mind-boggling how a city that size can function.
And they got 5 boroughs
and they've got
interact.
5 boroughs that interact. They've got a subway, and it works. And I don't know why we can't. We're so small. Why can't we make it work when they've got this humongous city going on? And that aside, I also want to talk about the High Line. Quickly, we have the bridge that people are talking about wanting to save.
Yeah.
Now, is it possible for these people that are out there saying, hey, I want to save the bridge, we want to save the bridge and do this and that, turned into a park? Is that possible, or is it a moot point?
Well, we had a meeting with them the other day, okay? We had a meeting with Bill Pettit. Mm-hmm. And questions were asked. I don't think all the questions were answered properly.
Right.
Their idea is that they would like to form a nonprofit committee that would, help take care of the bridge.
That's the first thing they need to do, because what the High Line did was the High Line, they got their people together. Number one, they formed a nonprofit entity so that they could take in money to pay for things that are going to happen to the bridge.
Now, who ultimately is responsible for the High Line now?
I didn't get a clear answer on that, but I do know that the train company donated the property.
Okay.
So number one, the train company gave them the entire track and said, do what you want with it.
In this case, see, the road belongs to us.
Right.
Now, there is a plan that a couple councilmen, David Brennan and one of the county councilmen are working on, and it's in the infant stages where they want to get the railroad to give us some land going through the middle of the city,
Right.
and make it a path.
That would be good too.
But there's a lot of problems with that. There's liability issues in the railroad, and I think they're making a lot of progress. But getting back to McBride,
Right.
we as a city, I don't think, and I can't speak for the city or the other councilmen.
Right.
I would have no problem giving them the bridge, okay? Because we would have to, but it seems like they want us to still have the bridge.
They want you to own it and take the financial responsibility
Right.
for it.
And I don't
The
know,
only way it can work.
and I don't know if the city, if there's enough support on council or the administration to do that.
If the city's not willing to do that, then one of the other options would be form the organization that is to save the McBride, viaduct, take in donations, find some people with some money, and then agree to take over the ownership of the land,
Right,
the
and I think
bridge,
they've been
and the
told that.
financial responsibility.
And I think that's the understanding, but I think they look at it like that maybe, to use a name of a book, a bridge too far. Okay? That might be a little bit out of the range for them.
All right.
But
these are answers I wanted to get.
But no, I don't think the proposal. We're looking at the High Line compared to what they're looking at over desolate factory buildings.
Yeah.
So it's not that we're not talking apples to apples there.
Right.
And I don't think saving. The problem is we're not sure if the neighborhood is in support of this project, or they'd rather see the bridge opened.
Right. That's something.
As a car bridge again.
Some of the people talking to people coming over the bridge, they've been trying to get signatures and get people to talk on.
But I'm not sure
if camera.
I'm not sure if they want to see this done. They may want the other system. So we're not sure if we got community support.
Right.
We're not even sure. PennDOT didn't really answer the question entirely as to whether who's going to have to pay back this money if we decide not to use it for what was voted on, right or wrong.
Right.
There was a decision made, right or wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're at that point. But I'm not saying it's impossible, but they would have to really get some ducks in a line, I think.
Okay.
But I don't think it's impossible, but at this late stage, it's getting pretty tight.
I know. All right, I will let you go on that. We have, we're out of time, but I want to talk more about that. I'm going to go speak to the people who are trying to save the bridge and try to find if there's a way to bridge this communication gap.
Yeah, they did meet with us, but, it's going to take, unfortunately, like I said, I would not have been in favor of tearing down the bridge, but that decision was long before me, and...
Are you saying the horse left the barn?
I'm saying the horse is outside the barn. The fat lady is tuning up her pipes, okay? As they would say in football, right?
Yeah.
So, anybody can see it.
We'll see where it goes, but they need to do a lot of work to make it happen. They need to move forward and create an organization that can have money to come in to support it, because they're going to have to take on.
They seem to want that, but there seems to be discussion of who's going to own the bridge yet, and that may be...
I'm going to get some more information on the High Line. I'd like to find out who actually owns it, and then see if we can translate.
And then we can talk about why New York and Chicago run pretty good.
I want to talk more about New York next time. My mind was so totally blown by that.
It's not all perfect there, but it's...
No, it wasn't perfect. I was accosted by at least 3 homeless people.
Oh.
I was. Somebody threw a can at me, somebody spit at me, and somebody else just tried to follow me, and I was like, I'm done. It's time to leave New York.
There's a difference between when I was there when I was 21. I wasn't accosted by... We'll let it go at that.
Okay, thank you.
Have a nice good Thanksgiving, everybody.
Right, everybody have a good Thanksgiving, and
Gobble gobble.
don't fall asleep with that, what's that called?
Tryptophan.
Tryptophan, right.
All right, have a beautiful Thanksgiving. You almost missed that.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.